don't have any there. And Peaceful Warrior starts with our legs outward, our hips, right? I'm gonna put some light on the situation here. Externally rotated hips. So my hips are going to be about as wide as that chair that's in front of me. Okay, I'm gonna start with my sits bones close to the edge of one of the chairs there. Going to have blocks available if you have any. You don't have to. You can build up with your fists or not use them at all. And then I'm going to remove my glasses, anybody that has glasses on. And then I'm just going to take my hands to the top of that second chair, and I'm going to just come up onto the ball of one foot and off the sits bone of that side, up onto the ball of foot, off that sits bone on the other side, okay? And just kind of rocking back and forth. If you don't have that second chair, but you have a desktop or something, you can be doing it this way as well. So what I'm doing is opening up the hips, warming those up a little bit, and I'm warming up my calves, warming up my feet, warming up right through here, because with the straight spine, maintaining that good posture, I'm also using everything I wrap myself around here in my core. And we're going to do a little bit different breathing at the end too, to just show you a little bit of a difference in the muscles that are used in our breath work. And so now we're going to sit up, and then we're going to go ahead and let ourselves come down with that straight spine, maybe scooting back a little bit, maybe taking my arms and forearms on, and then my head, forehead to wrist or forearm, or I stack my two fists on top of one another. The idea of this, having our third eye connected to something, right? That's kind of a massaging right in there in the pineal and the pituitary gland. We just kind of massaged our feet and our hips and our waist by doing that side by side. And now even in this nice, simple, seemingly inactive pose of Peaceful Warrior, a wide-legged child's pose, I'm still keeping my knees open. So if you feel them start to go in, which will happen if we don't root down with our feet, okay? And letting them fall in will be something else we'll do later, but right now we want them to be having that external rotation. And if you want a little more here, ladies and gentlemen, you might want to push down into your feet and see how that reacts. That reaction takes place in your legs and all the way up to your hips. That would take this into a more active pose. Or you can definitely relax your legs and just let this be a place where we're going to open and close our bellies with our breath. Let's do that a few times here. Let's take 4 slow, deep, full breaths. As my head is down, I might be looking towards the expansion and contraction of my belly. So focused on maintaining my knees out. And then I'm going to slowly bring myself up, line myself center here. Left hand comes flat on top of the center of that chair in front of me. And I'm going to take my right arm up, bend into my left elbow. Let that left elbow kind of come towards my left hip a little bit, right? And as I raise this right arm up, I'm going to look up if that feels right. If not, please keep the head in neutral or continue looking down at that hand. So I've got my sits bones placed on one chair, my hand open, pushing downward on the other chair as my other hand reaches up, lengthening out that side body, okay? Taking a breath or two here. Open up your fingers wide if you want to add a little more here. And only if you like to go a little deeper, your bicep magnetly comes towards your ear and you come into more of this side stretch. The other was opening up the ribs for sure, but this one opens them up even a little bit more. Push down with your feet, keep those knees from swaying in, okay, kind of more outward than inward. Let's take another breath or two here. Lengthen with your inhale. Come down and relax on your exhale. One more of those, please. Taking myself up very slowly. Lengthen again. And whoa, let's let that arm come down. Doesn't that feel good? And turn your body towards that second chair. I like with the second chair too, it helps us teach a little bit more about alignment, right? If that chair is right in front of us, that's where my hips go, that's where my shoulders go, when I want to be in this neutral place. I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to press that down into the center of the chair. My feet are flat, my knees and ankles line up, and then I'm going to go ahead and begin to bend into that right elbow, lift my left arm up, fingers towards the ceiling. Opening up those fingers, okay, and pressing down to help me lift up. So that's that rooting down to rise up phrase that a lot of yoga teachers use, because it really helps us to think about, like, what does a tree do to grow? It has to have really strong roots, so we push down those roots to get the nourishment we need. And then I'm going to take it on over, only if you feel like it. Bicep by your ear. Continuing to be strong in your legs, strong in your arms. And nice and gentle, flowing with your breath. Let's take that on an inhale up slowly. And let's let that left arm come down. Hand rests on the knee, right hand on the knee. Again, centered in alignment with that other chair. And then I'm going to press down with both hands on my knee, okay, right here at the knee and at the end of my thigh. I'm just going to take myself forward and keep myself in a flat spine. My elbows bend in both back towards my hips. Taking myself forward just in about a quarter of the way here. Earlier we were all the way head down into that peaceful warrior. Now we're going to take it back. Sitting up straight, hold on to your knees now. Hold on to them and let your heart come up. I'm going to turn just a little more this way if Wongo lets me. I have to move around his head. And then we're going to come into that little arcing of the spine there, okay? So I'm going to come back. And then I'm going to come back and forward here, bending into my elbows, elbows pull towards my hips. My back is flat. Push down with my hands. That's almost like a push up there. And then my hands were on my knees before. And then hold on to my knees and release my head up, chin up, heart up. And come back into center. And now let's just flow with that cat-cow with the wide-legged for a bit. And I'll hold on to my knees. And I'm going to bring my heart up, head up, inhale. Exhale, curl, tuck, round, come on back through. Inhale, lifting up. Feel that, what do you call it? I guess it's movement. Sure, kind of what we would call it, but that coming back and forth on your sits bones there. And hopefully you've got a chair that's a little bit padded. And because, yeah, if you're kind of bony, you're going to feel that. Inhale, lift. Exhale, back. 2 more, please. And then coming back up. Let's take our hands to the back, top of the back chair, okay? And from here, we're just gonna press one arm down, one hand down, that's my right. And I'm gonna lift my left one up. And I'm gonna take it behind me. I'm gonna try to rest part of that arm on the back of the other chair. So I don't have to hold and bend into that arm. Try to keep it straight if your chair allows. It depends on the anatomy of the chair. Yours might be too tall to do that, then go ahead and bend your arm. Now, as I'm doing this twist, this knee wants to fall in. I want to try to keep it out. Okay, that's taking work right into here. So press down with your hand forward on that other chair. Pressing down a little bit with it on the back chair. Looking back. Or you're holding on if you had to bend into that arm. And I'm going to take myself back forward. Whew, that's a lot to try to keep everything in alignment the way it was when you go into that twist. Taking my left hand now to the other chair. I'm going to press down solidly, rooting into my feet, keeping these knees open. And I'm going to take the other arm up and I'm going to send it back. Press down, pull back, maybe let it come onto the top of the other chair. Keeping those knees out, keeping myself spinning in a twisting way backwards. This time I'm going over, looking at my right shoulder. Keep breathing. Inhale, lift your arm up. Take it on back. Holding on here, or if you guys prefer, you can take your hands to the bottom of the chair. And we're just going to do a little bit of up and down out of the chair, okay? So hold on to that second chair. Press into your feet, root down, keep the knees outward, and let's just stand up. That just kind of relieves those hips that have had to be open, those knees have been open. It's opening the back side of our legs and we're feeling really secure here, okay? And we're standing. I'm going to bend a little bit into my right knee, bring myself back into the center, come over to my left knee, bend into that, and back. And let's do that a few times. And if you want your feet to come out farther apart or bring them in, but we're very supported here, okay? So it's not a lot, it's not jerking into the knee, it's not taking, a lot of weight into that knee, but what we're doing is getting some opening in this inner upper thigh, especially, although the opening really is in that whole side, okay? So if you want, you can go farther apart with your legs, and then that will take that stretch down even more. So don't do that unless it feels right. Okay, remember, be that advanced practitioner that listens to the body and lets the body fit into the asana, not the other way around. Okay. And one more each side. And then still standing, still feeling really supported here. I'm going to take my left hand more to the center of the chair. Do something really similar to what we just did a bit ago. I'm going to let my right arm come up, but I'm standing now. So my legs are getting a good stretch. I'm opening up here, pressing down, rooting down with feet in the hand that are on the chair, lifting and looking. And then releasing that right arm down. It comes and replaces hand on the center of the chair. And lifting my other arm up. My left arm now stretches up. And looking up if that feels right. Or staying neutral. Or staying looking down. Or moving your neck in between all of those places in that semicircle there. Lift up. And exhale. Take it down. If you extended your legs out a little bit more, bring them in just a bit. And let's just take, remember we're going back and forth, but let's just take it a little bit more flowing. Let's get into our hips a little bit, right? And our legs kind of go into like frog legs. And let your tail go around, and then let's shift. Going around in the other direction, just kind of freeing up our hip and the hip socket. Good. And then let's go ahead and take ourselves back onto the seated chair. Okay. And from here, let's see how much room I have around. Won't go down there. I'm gonna take both legs up on the chair. Okay, so you're going to want to separate here a little bit. This is a good time if you have a strap or scarf or something, but you don't have to have it. And we're just going to find how we can lengthen both of those legs. But now instead of being open, we've got them in a more neutral way, coming right out of our hips there. The glasses back on so I can see you guys a little bit better. There we go. And from here, we're just going to take our feet apart just enough that we can take our toes in, our big toes in to meet one another. Feel that internal rotation there of our hips just by touching our toes together. Okay. Then I'm going to open them up. And I'm going to make sure you guys can see me still. Then I'm going to open them up and I'm going to take my feet out. So I'm going to get that external rotation going on there. Then turn them in and inside, big toes. Take them out. And take them in, press against toes, big toes, pressed against the other. And then take them out. And then let my legs be here. Let my hands come onto this chair. And only if, you know, well, everybody can do this. Some of you may lift yourself out of the chair. Some of you are just going to get that pushing down feeling and feel that all the way in here, all the way in your chest. So just take the size of your chair. Shoulders kind of scrunch up and push down, okay? If your seat happens to lift, that's just a little icing on the cake there. But otherwise, we're really pushing down to open up and expand through our chest. Then we're going to release. We'll take our wrists that have been pretty active so far today and just let's give them some circles and go around in the other way. My knees are a little bent, right? So I don't want to be hyperextending so that this knee would be pushing down and more extension on the back side of that. I don't want that at all, okay? So let's go ahead and try to have our back straight, away from the back of that chair we're sitting on. Arms rise up, okay? From here, I'm going to take my left hand towards my left leg, and I'm just going to come down and touch it wherever it goes to, all right? With that straight spine. I'm not coming forward. I'm not going back. I'm just taking that hand down to wherever it goes to. Lift back up, fingers reach towards the sky. Take the right hand down to wherever it touches. Shin, thigh, knee, foot, okay? Arm comes up. Inhale, lengthen the sides of your body. And then exhale, left hand comes down. And I'm not really moving into a twist either, right? I'm just left hand down, nice long spine. Lift that left arm up. Inhale. Right hand down. Take a touch there. Rise up. Now, fingers extend and exhale, hands come down. Let's tap our fingers on wherever they land, keeping that nice drishti gaze forward, back nice and straight, shoulders over hips, ears over trapezius. Lift your arm up, both of them. And again, keeping that slight bend in your knees, okay? So in order to do that, you might have to really engage the muscles around your knee to do that. This is going to give you really strong legs for being sure about your walking. Rise up one more time. And then exhale, hands come down again. Let's keep the hands there. This time, take a forward fold, right? So we're coming in to about a quarter of the way down. Hands can slide down. You can use a strap here if you'd like to really engage the back side of your legs. Not necessary, only if you want to do that or have one available to practice with, to try. And so I'm still keeping a straight spine, but I'm coming forward. So I might be running into my belly or my breast or some area in front of me. So come to where it feels right for you, that you feel real strong still here in your spine. And then when you get to that point that feels good for the lengthening here, feels good for the lengthening in my spine, then I'm going to go ahead and just let it go. Forward folding here, Uttanasana. As I do, I know for me at least, my shoulders just went, whoo, and they really just relaxed and pulled away from my ears, pulling down with the weight of gravity. As I stay here, I stay engaging in my core so that I'm still protecting my lower spine, but I still want to breathe with those deep belly breaths, not Billy. I'm glad we don't have a Billy in our class. Inhale and exhale. 2 more breaths here. Really letting the back side of your neck go. And then extending head up. Looking forward, bringing our bodies up. Yeah, back into Tadasana, staff pose. I'm going to go ahead and take my feet off that second chair. And we're finished with that second chair now. So you can kind of push that out of the way. If you have blocks, have those available just to extend the length of your arm reach. Same with that strap, if you have that available. I'll show you options on using that, but you don't have to use it, okay? Just come up a little bit closer. You guys can see it a little better here. You need to have a little more wide view to those 2 chairs. Now I can come up a little bit closer. So get comfortable here and get into your mountain pose, Tadasana here. And remember the importance of Tadasana is alignment and coming back into a place of repose, a place to come back and rest. So I just, again, can do it visually, or I can do it feeling wherever my feet are running parallel to one another. I can think about it. Yes, I think they are. And then I'm going to look and I'm going to actually see where they are or not. Then I'm going to check out my ankles. It's like my knees were a little bit out. So I'm going to bring them in. And then I'm going to make sure that line continues to my hips. That continues to my shoulders. And then here are my ears. Pull them back so they drop down into my trapezius. That's a big one for me. And maybe for you too, especially that computer work, working on the phone, our heads are always down, you know. So bring them up and feel really like lifted up when we do that. So let's take a couple breaths here in Tadasana pose, mountain pose. Transitioning from the use of that second chair to our single chair. I'm getting ready to do a little work here. So I'm going to raise my arms up, inhale. Exhale, take them into cactus, okay? And again, I do this by thinking, okay, am I at my elbows at about my shoulder height? And are my fingers stretched out? And is that forearm coming straight up? Or is it kind of... So just kind of think and then take a look and just see. And it might not be because of our anatomy or whatever. So again, make sure the body is more important than the asana. I'm just going to keep giving you little tips, all right? So here we are. And then I'm going to raise up, inhale. And then this time I'm going to exhale to here. And I'm going to let my arms come down. And here I'm going to begin some of these scarecrow elbows pointing upward, feeling this in my shoulders, yes, in the back muscles as well. And then take that and lift it up as high as you can. Give a good squeeze there. And then take it back to where you think it's shoulder height. Lift up one arm up, one arm down. And then let's switch those. And let's do that with some consciousness of maintaining those elbows at about shoulder height, the fingers at about open, and feeling this in our arms. At least I am. Trapezius, the trapezius muscles and the bicep muscles. And no, I meant the tricep and the bicep muscles are working here. But yeah, actually the trapezius is too. So much goes in. Let's go ahead and take our arms up here again. And now lift up, inhale. And now let's take this left hand to our right shoulder, right hand to our left elbow. And let's just, again, the tricep right here. Trapezius is here, right? Tricep. We're getting that a nice little stretch. We're just going to breathe here with that. Looks good, you guys. Got a lot of pink and red on today. And then let's take ourselves over to the right, pressing down with our sits bone that's still on the chair. Inhale, lift yourself up. And exhale, let's take ourselves over here, really stretching into that side body. Inhale up, arms release. And let's exhale the opposite way. So right hand to left shoulder, left hand to right elbow point, or the opposite, whichever one you just did. We're opening up now this right tricep, keeping our backs nice and straight, trying not to overarch here, okay? Sitting down in those sits bones, keeping our legs in that neutral position with the knees coming straight out of the hips forwardly. And then I'm going to come on over here. Let myself, just take it on over. Bringing myself up on an inhale. Taking myself over on the exhale. So getting into those obliques there. I know when I first started doing hot yoga, and I was doing it like every day. Come on up. And releasing arms up. I remember one of the first things I noticed, besides just so much more flexibility, mobility for me, was that my waist started to kind of whittle away a bit. And I thought, how can that be? I'm not doing, these intense, what I thought were intense exercises. It was just from that repetitive movement and opening and twists and all of that was engaging so much of my core, okay? All right, so from here, let's go into one of my favorites. I think you guys like it too, and that's Tadasana, eagle pose. I'm gonna walk my left foot over to the center. We're gonna do this with arms and legs. I'm gonna cross my leg over. If your legs don't cross like that, just lower it down. But we want our legs together as much as possible, okay? Into that kind of folding in of ourselves, into that eagle posture. It's not a flying eagle. This is more like a resting eagle. We got to fly to get there. And then if this foot happens to want to cross behind, you can do that too. Might not want to go there. That's okay. Taking arms up, inhale, lifting up. Exhale, flying, floating down. My left arm is going over my right one. And I'm crossing at the elbow points. Okay, and maybe your arms stay here, right? Or your bicep, your forearms become perpendicular to the ground. Fingers lift up. I'm going to inhale and take 2 circles in one direction. And if you can, you will feel this in your core as well. And then 2 coming around in the other direction. This is working more to the obliques and the transverse obliques. And then transverse abdominals. Lifting up high, inhale. Exhale, take those elbow points to your knee and let your forehead come down into bowing eagle. Sleeping eagle, resting eagle here. I know Cheryl out there has had the opportunity to travel a lot, bird watch and capture some beautiful eagles in flight and perched and all of that. Maybe she'll send some of those to us. Rise up, inhale. And let's exhale and release those arms. Send them up, let's fly. And exhale down. Let's go ahead and release that top leg. That was my right over my left for me. I'm going to release now, left over right, or maybe it's down here, and maybe it's crossed behind. And I'm trying to keep everything really close together here, whether my knee is and leg are on top of the other or on front of the other one. Okay, but kind of squeezing in. This Garasana eagle pose is really good for all of the joints in our body, but it's also good for our urogenital system and that squeezing in that we do when we press one leg against the other. Okay, my left is over my right. I'm going to raise my arms up and float and fly. And now I'm going to take my right arm under my left. So if you notice, I'm doing the opposite with my arms that I'm doing with my right over, with my legs. And I'm going to go ahead and bend into my arms, take my hands here, or take my hands here. And so left leg is on top, but now I've got my right arm on top, okay? So rising up, inhale. Let's take 2 circles to one direction. Notice how that's feeling in your core area. And breathe with it, okay? Inhaling. Exhaling as you come around the other side, and we'll do 2 on that side as well. Inhale, lifting up high. Let's exhale into bowing eagle. Elbows to knees, curl tuck around your chin in. Let your shoulders release away. Taking a couple breaths, maybe squeezing arms and legs together. And rising up, flying up here. And exhale, releasing your arms. Ooh. Let yourself fly up. Release those legs, but keep them together this time, okay? More closer than hips distance. Let's just fly a few more times, releasing the arms up and down. Una vez más, por favor. Looking up, lifting. Exhale, let's take it down. Now, if you have a block, great. If you don't have to have one. But we're going to be pressing our knees into one another. But if you have that block, you're going to take the block right there and press your knees into the block. Okay? So the thing about having the block, it's just your little cushion. If you have a pillow or you have a blanket, you could put that in there, or you could just be going knee to knee. But again, you may not want to go as hard if you do that. So my feet are still running straight, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to pulse. All right. And this is one of those that you can't see that I'm doing anything. I can't see that you're doing anything, but I'm telling you that you will feel this in your inner thighs, your outer hips, by just pulsing here. Okay. Just doing these little blinks. Right. Also helping our urogenital area. So we're going to do that a few more times. Blink and blink and blink. And now let's squeeze it all in. And let's squeeze our hands outside of our hands and fists together as well. So you're making these beautiful big biceps. You're pressing in with that block with the knees. And you're breathing, right? because this is so easy. And we're just connecting to ourselves in one way or another. And we're pressing in and we're breathing. And then we're releasing. Woo. Woo. I'm going to take that block and put it down. And then I'm going to open up my legs again because we're going to do a little bit of abduction and adduction. And again, strengthening those leg muscles, okay? So that we can walk through our lives upright, only coming down when we want to. Right, Josephine? Okay, so let's stay strong. Let's stay fluid. Let's stay flexible in all of these joints, okay? So having our toes out, heels in, sitting up nice and straight and tall. I'm going to take my hands on the outside of my knees, and I'm going to push those knees out as I bring my hands in. But there shouldn't be any movement because I'm using this isometric pressure, which means it's like trying to not win when you're doing arm wrestling. In other words, you and your partner are at the same force. So right now, my arms and my legs are at the same force, but one is going in one direction and one is going in the other. I'm pressing down with my feet. That's another direction that I'm going. I'm pressing up, lifting up with my head. That's another direction I'm going. And I am breathing. So that is another direction, right? In and out, up and down, left and right, all the directions. Open up your fingers wide if you want a little more here. Again, a place where can't tell if I'm doing anything. I could just be trying to make you do something and I'm not doing anything. You guys can just be sitting there with smiles on your face and not really doing anything. Or you can really be abducting. That's bringing those legs outward. Woo. Let's release. Let's take a few breaths. For me, that's cardio too. I've got my heartbeat going with that particular length of time doing that. Now I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to bring them on the inside of that same area, but not on the outside, on the inside, right by the knees. Arms are straight, back is straight. I'm going to begin that outward push with my hands as my knees weigh inward, but neither one are taking over the other, all right? So that's what isometric is. Really just one weight against the other that's equalized, and we are resisting that. And we're smiling, feet down, crown up. Keep breathing. Keep that strength going, you guys. Just remember, we're all so strong and we've gone through so much in our lives, and this is nothing, right? So just keep on. Strong, strong, strong. Engage through your arms. Push down, engage through your legs. Because you might be thinking, oh, I'm doing a lot in my arms, but I forgot about my legs. Okay, so try to do both. And then release. Let's begin to just take, like we've got something in our hands and we're releasing here. And we're letting that come into our shoulders. We're letting that come into our torso. And I'm shifting front and back on my sits bones a little bit. Now I'm going to go reverse, starting with really big arm movements here. And then bringing it into a little bit smaller circles. And then just shaking things out. Yeah, I don't know about your legs, but you might want to do something with those too. Release them back. And just take a little bit of motion, whichever and whatever feels delightful for you right now. So my body right now is craving a little bit of twist. So we're going to work into a twist, which again is going to utilize our legs. So I'm going to take my left leg into the center again. I'm going to cross my right leg over. Maybe I'm going to slide on down here, all right? So again, we can take that isometric energy there or not. We can take our leg behind us, our ankle behind us or not. But we're going to use this as our twisting position. So I'm going to take my left hand, my right leg's on top, and I'm going to come to my right knee, or I'm going to reach down to my left knee. Okay, find where your arm goes. And then my back arm is going to come and sit into the chair right behind my tailbone. So I'm really long. And now I'm going to go ahead and take that twist. Looking behind me, squeezing maybe my legs together. Pushing down with my foot in the ground. Maybe taking my eyeballs a little bit more back into my socket. And then slowly, very slowly, unwinding out of that. Coming back into center. Taking a breath. And I'm going to reverse that. So my right hand's coming to the top of my right knee, maybe down my shin. Okay, left hand comes behind. And again, rooting down with that hand in the chair, rooting down with my foot that's on the ground, and then beginning to move back. Turning over to the back side, working again in those muscles of my abdominal area. And then releasing my head, releasing shoulders, releasing the rest of my torso. And I'm going to flip those legs and switch. Okay, and again, you might be down here. That's fine. Just keep that kind of inward squeezing going on. Okay, and make sure you're nicely planted on your sits bones, sitting up straight and tall here. This time, right hand to left knee or right hand to that lower right knee. Left hand behind you, push down, expand upwards. And then begin that twist from the waist up. Gaze is last. Really take that a little bit farther back, coming into all your neck muscles there. And then slowly let the head come back, shoulders. So it's like this corkscrew, and then I unwind myself to prepare myself after one deep, full, slow breath to go into the other direction. So my left hand crosses over to that left leg, down the shin, right hand behind, nice straight spine. Then go ahead, take myself on back. And releasing. Come on back forward. One breath here. Good. And then releasing. And let's do a little bit of heart opening here. Taking my hands, interlacing into this yoga mudra is what, when we take all of our fingers and interlace them, take it behind you. If that feels okay on your shoulders, let your hands come down, maybe back and up. Again, that's all relevant to your body. You can also release that if that's not comfortable and take hands to your hips, the back or the side. So let's go ahead and squeeze those shoulders down and looking up, releasing through our throat and in our heart as well. Maybe there's been something a little heavy we need to get out and release, not in our throat for whatever reason. Sometimes we don't know why we're feeling a little sad. But doing something like this can just be very expansive and helping you express that a bit. And then coming up, releasing your hands. Feel that tingling and that warmth just radiating through your chest and your heart. I'm just doing that one simple heart opening. Take 2 breaths here. We're going to do that again. But this time I'd like you to, if you did interlace your fingers, interlace them in that opposite grip. Okay, so I'm always going my left mostly on top. So I'm taking my left thumb under, and I'm going to come around, take that grip again, or else again, you guys have your hands at your hips, okay? Squeeze, press down, look up, if that feels good for you. And come on up, inhale. And exhale, release. Now we're going to come forward, forward fold onto your thighs. Have support, have your hands on your thighs if that feels more supportive. You can put your chest on your thighs if your body comes forward that much, and stay there, or let your head collapse down. Only if you feel like you can feel like doing that and you're not going to be dizzy coming up. Your hands come down, let them hang, come into Uttanasana, forward fold here. And then I'm going to take my fingers into my shins or into the floor, and I'm going to lift into half lift, flat spine here. So again, I can be right here on my shins and doing that exhale and only letting the head go, you guys, if you're comfortable with that, okay? Inhale, half lift. One more time, let yourself go, exhale. Inhale, bringing ourselves up, ragdoll, okay? So the head will be the last thing to come up. Chin is at chest. Stacking one vertebrae on top of the other. Letting our heart lift, chin lifts, throat opens. Good. So we're going to do one series of warrior one, and then we're going to do a couple of breath exercises at the end, okay? So, warrior one. Take yourself on over to the side, knee, ankle. All right, we're gonna kind of switch up warrior one a bit with our arms, and this other leg can just come out like this. That would be probably the easiest thing to do, or you can take it onto a block right underneath you. Okay, like this, facing forward. Or you can extend that leg back, staying on the ball of that back foot, or coming on into an angle. But find what works for you guys, all right? Remember, be advanced practitioners who listen to your body. And so I'm forward here, hips forward, shoulders forward, leg wherever that feels right. And I'm going to go ahead and lift up my arms, inhale, into a regular warrior one here. Exhale, hands are going to come into prayer position. And then I'm going to come forward. I'm going to take my right elbow to my right thigh. And I'm going to come into a twisted prayer position here. Hands are in prayer. I'm looking up, back, feeling that lengthening all the way through here, all the way into my foot. If your leg is lengthened, if not, at least you're feeling it up here. Okay. And then holding in at my core, being really strong here, coming up forward. And this time I'm going to take my arms up, inhale. And instead of keeping my arms here, I'm going to take them like I'm in warrior two. So I'm going to expand out. And then I'm going to come up, inhale. And I'm going to twist in the opposite way. Yes, we don't twist as much with that back arm as we would and coming forward. That's why it's a twist. And then inhale up. Exhale, hands to heart center. And now I'm going to come forward and either repeat right elbow to right thigh, or I'm going to twist and attempt to take left elbow towards left thigh. That is a really big twist. So I'm going to stay like this. But you can also just be going towards that way without actually touching it, okay? And then rise up, inhale, back into a warrior one. Exhale, hands down. And then we're going to switch and do the other side, taking your leg into, again, whatever position is right for you. And part of the work here is just setting up, right? Getting ourselves into that right alignment that's good for us. So knee, ankle, foot forward. Here I've got knee, ankle, foot forward, or shin down, knee and hip in alignment, or I'm going to extend that leg back. And I'm going to feel that right in that hip part that we're lucky Josephine fell onto, okay? And we have our hips forward, shoulders forward, and we're going to let our arms rise up. Inhale. Really lengthening here. Exhale, taking hands into heart center, this time left elbow to left thigh or left knee, taking that into a bit of a twist here by looking up if that feels right, or keeping that gaze down towards your beautiful foot and extending out through that leg, or pressing down into your block, or pressing down into your foot if you're staying in that first position there. Hold into your belly, come on up, inhale. Arms rise up, and then exhale this time, come into arms coming out to the side like we would with warrior two, right? Arms are out, stretching one side and then the other, and then we lift up, inhale. And now we're going to exhale. I'm going to twist my right arm forward. My left arm comes back, but it's not going to come out into alignment like when I was forward. And that's why we're twisting here to get into our digestive organs and our kidneys and our adrenals. Let's lift up, inhale. Exhale, hands to heart center. So you're going to come into a twist where I doubt, maybe you will, I can't get my elbow quite to my thigh, or you're going to come back into the other twist where our heart is coming forward instead of twisting back. And then bringing our bodies upward, standing arms up. And exhale, hands come down. Let's find ourselves into Tadasana pose and practicing 2 breath techniques here at the end. Find yourself really comfortable, but with a straight spine. Straight spines, as you know, are the best way for making sure you're having a nice, fresh, elongated passageway for your air. So we're going to practice how we would have been practicing our breath, where we inhale through our nose and exhale through our nose. And when we're doing that, we're feeling the belly expand on the inhale and the belly contract on the exhale. Some people have paradoxical breath where they are doing just the opposite. So hopefully by now you guys have been training yourself to breathe like that. So let's take your hands on your belly, and you can do this with eyes open or closed. And then you're going to inhale through your nose and feel that expansion of your belly. You're going to exhale through your nose. Feel the contraction of your belly. Notice where the belly button is going. Do a few more of those, please. Two more, please. Tuning into your breath. Deep, full, diaphragmatic belly breaths. Calming breath. And take your hands to your thighs and just come into a couple of whatever you would consider a normal breath for you. Now the last breath, what we'll do is, not the last breath, but this newer breath practice, what we're going to do is take that breath from our nose in, and then we're going to act like we've got one of those little fancy cocktail straws, and we're just going to open up our mouth about that much and extend, 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 extend that exhale through that little straw And this time I want you to put your hands on the side here. These are your transverse abdominals. And you're going to notice not so much that belly button comes in, but that these come like a corset and tighten around you. Okay, by doing this, that little difference in the breath. So you're going to inhale through your nose. You're going to take the exhale slow, as long as it needs to empty as much as you can, and then you'll begin again through your nose. Okay, go ahead and start. Two more, please. And then hands on thighs, a couple normal breaths for you. And did you notice the difference? One is more this way, right? Expand and contract. The other one is expanding, and then the contraction comes from the side of the body. You can do core work just by breathing, right? And taking those different kinds of breaths. So this works one set of muscles, the other works another set of muscles. And also we got that added benefit of calming our central nervous system, calming our parasympathetic nervous system, so that we can